Welcome boys. So I'm trading my small account of 5k. This is a funded account, not funded, but I'm in phase one. So for this challenge, as you can see today, I made over 29. I had like three positions actually running, but I got a bit carried away, and also market was not showing me any clear signs that it wanted to continue being bullish, so I just closed out, right? But there was my stop loss, and then I was expecting price to have that second push, right? So the first TP that I had was above here, that's around $40. Okay, but the reason why I took this entry, first of all, I showed these guys that price was already bullish above this zone, right? If you look here, price came here, it sold off massively, right? Then it came above here, breaking the resistance, giving us the indication, right? So this is the second time that price went above this same level, so I was expecting that second push to also happen in the market, just as it did before. Okay, so with that being said, I want you guys to understand that even though yes, price took out the previous low, yes it did, but I want you guys to observe the fact that this was just an indication. So this can be a correction. If price goes under here, that's a continuation, right? But in the meantime, when I follow structure, I see that price took out this high. In my eyes, I'm like, when price took out that high, what happened? It failed to break the previous low, so this was respected. What happened? Price then came above this zone. In my mind, I'm thinking, hey, price is bullish above this zone, so why couldn't I take buys? So if I go to the low time frame, like the H1, you observe that, okay, the M15 is even better, I think. Yeah, so in the M15 you observe that price is coming above this same zone that we wanted, and it's doing so by even respecting structure. If you observe, we have a high, price broke the high, corrected, came above that high, and it is respecting structure, right? So this could have been a good setup. Stop loss under here. The first stop loss here, I've put my stop loss at $12. Now we're in almost $23. So yeah, that's just like that's the setup that I gave out in my group, right? Um, let me take a screenshot so that I can show these guys in my group. I sent them this signal today evening. Yeah, today evening I sent them this signal, but I think they may have forgotten. So in gold nights, I sent them this signal over here. Okay, this was the before, right? So this was the before, and then this was the after. Before and after, right? So in this one, I want them to see the process behind every trade setup that I take, and also I want them to realize that I've been taking these setups like head on, right? I do it because I'm scared. I'm scared, bro. That's why I do it. So if you observe, all the orders here that we had were from the silver. So silver made us almost $73, right? So I'll tell them that I closed some positions, left one running. So yeah, we had almost let me see, I think it was almost like, let me see, 1 2 3 4 5 6 positions. 6 times 20, that's $120. So yeah, probably I would have been around $120, because 6 2 3 4 5 6 6 times 20, right? 6 times 20, yes, $120 in profit. That would have been like the whole thing, right? But anyways, just not to confuse you guys, as I've told you, this is uh, I want them to be motivated, right? That it's possible to scale up your account. It's very possible to scale up your account as long as you're able to understand how you trade. But this was a bit of a risky trade. I won't lie to you. This was a bit of a risky trade, a really risky trade. But yeah, let's wait and see. I took some entries actually. Let me just give you an update. I taken some entries before on let's go to gold, but gold made me lose 14 bucks, all right. And then if you observe, I was trading a little bit of everything. I had like, and then I had Ethereum was buying Ethereum, okay. If you observe, I was buying Ethereum. I'd put in like 5 lots for this one, 2 lots, sorry. So Ethereum, the reason why I took buys on Ethereum was because I saw this level of resistance over there, right? Price was resisting above this zone, right? Price was making resistance. It came here, right? It came here, it sold, right? But it respected the structure. It never took out the previous low. So in my head, I was thinking, hey, if price is respecting the structure, what next could price do? So I was like, if we have this level of what resistance, if price goes above it, what would happen next? It could buy. So I'd taken this precaution. I'd taken this entry here on a silver, but the drawdown was much, so I closed out a bit early, okay. But again, price is above that same level. This is the type of stuff that most people don't get, right? They look for entries and then they get scared and they move out of their positions. But price is giving you the same setups. It's giving you the same setups over and over again, right? It's testing your patience. So in most of the cases, when price tests your patience, you don't have to be angry or sad. No, just follow the structure, right? Because if I'm to follow the structure, observe that we have this low, okay, and then we have these higher lows over there. Price is respecting this order block, or whatever you can call it. It's not going anywhere underneath this zone, right? Then on top of that, we have this level of resistance. If you observe, price came here, it sold the first time, okay, then it sold again, okay, then it sold again. So we have so many confluences that price was bearish underneath this level. It was selling underneath this level, but what's happening now is that price is now failing to go underneath this level. It's failing to break structure. Look at this. The first time it came, it broke structure, so it had the indication. But the second time it failed to break structure, right? So this was some bit of confluence. Then the third time it came above the zone and took out the previous high. So we already have a confluence that price can potentially do what? Buy above this zone. Now if I'm to buy here, where would I put my stop loss? So I'll tell my people in the group that, hey, I'm seeing buys on Ethereum. I'm seeing what? I'll tell them that I see buys on Ethereum. Then just leave it at that. I'm seeing buys on Ethereum. So yeah, let me send them this picture. So I told them that I'm seeing buys on Ethereum. Above that level, I'm looking for buys on Ethereum. So yeah, that's the setup that I see so far. And remember, this setup can happen any time from now, right? We can have this setup cleanly as possible anytime from now. So probably by tomorrow, we may have a good setup on Ethereum. Perhaps the setup could even take place today. I don't know, but let's wait. I just wanted to make a quick update on all the trade setups that you don't have to hammer me with questions, all right? Okay, so now we have something. This is where like the magic happens. This is where most people don't even understand where the magic happens. I want you guys to think to the time that you have been trading gold, yeah? We have this high over here. I want you guys to be very systematic for your entries. I want you guys to observe always what price is doing, what it's showing, the blueprints of price, right? I call them blueprints. I want you to observe what price is showing you. Okay, so you have this low, we have this low, then you have a higher low. Price on this low over here, it was able to break the previous high. I count the week because if you're in a race, if you're in a race and someone goes above you by 2 seconds, that person has already won. He has already won the race, right? Even though it's just 2 seconds, they have already won the race. So that's the same thing here. This high over here got tapped out, right? So that was an indication that above here we are bullish. Now, since already price is going for a close, that means that by tomorrow we may have like a New York Open, something like that. What I would do is that I would rather go to the H4 and observe, right? Observe the structure. So in the H4, I want you guys to observe how price came here. It sold off massively, right? It came off at this area. Look at that. That exact spot over there. It sold off massively, right? Then it came above this zone, giving us, some bit of confirmation, but then it sold, right? Then it's coming above on this same zone the third time. So what would you do here? Would you buy or would you sell? That's the question. Would you buy here or would you sell? So if I'm to draw my right line over there, okay, and I'm to draw over there, okay, I observe that price has already taken out the previous high. So what does that mean? It means that price is now looking for higher levels. So I'm looking for these zones over here, these zones above here, right? I'm looking for these zones above here. So if I'm to buy here, I have to look for entries. I have to look for entries. So observe. Observe how structure does what? Observe how structure moves. Okay.